I just realized I forgot to put in my SD card into this sound recording device. So this is take number 2. Also, the studio space is a mess right now, so bear with me for this one. I am still sick right now, although I am almost 100% again. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my first impression with the Google Home for Canadians. Now, for those in the know, Google Home actually came out last year in November in the States. Well, the Google Home just dropped here in Canada last month, so let's talk about that. Now, I'm going to divide this first impressions video into 2 parts, the good and the bad. Starting off with the good, we're going to talk about the speakers, because in my opinion, they are the most important component next to the microphone. If you look on the bottom of the unit, under the base, you'll find 3 speakers facing in 3 different directions. These are high-end speakers, and they get really loud. They're also decently bassy, and I'm no audiophile, but I think they sound great. We typically keep our volume under 50% because we have no need for anything above that, but if you live in a really large home, you can crank it all the way up to 100% and it gets really loud. In fact, even at 50%, sometimes we worry that we might be disturbing the neighbors. The microphone, I think, works. There's no real way of testing how good it is. You can shout commands from pretty much anywhere within the room. In fact, the Google Home might even pick up commands from nearby rooms if you're loud enough. In terms of functionality, the Google Home works with a number of smart home devices. This includes all the big players like Nest, LifeX, Wemo, and most importantly for me, Philips Hue. The Google Home app also lets you group these devices together into rooms. And that enables you to say things like, hey, turn on the living room, and then it'll turn on all the lights and everything in your living room. Turn off the living room.
Sure, turning 2 lights off.
Very nice feature. Being a product made by Google, obviously the Google Home also has great integration with Google services, such as Google Play Music, which lets you make great use of those high-end speakers. Google Play Music sounds great on this thing. However, if you're not a Google Play Music kind of person, and you prefer something like Spotify, you can use that as well. Unfortunately, for some users, Apple Music is not supported on the Google Home. There is no mention of it. However, if you want to play Apple Music, you might as well get an Apple Pod. As an alternative to those 2 options, if you want something free, you can also use TuneIn Radio, which can play stations like 94.5 and whatever's on the air. It sounds decent too, although there are a lot of advertisements and commercials. One of the cooler functions, in my opinion, is the ability to cast things to your television by using your voice. You can cast YouTube videos to your TV via Google Cast. So say you want to watch your recommended videos, you can just sit down on your couch and shout, "Pick the recommended videos."
Okay, playing recommended YouTube videos on living room.
You can also cast specific videos if you know the title. And then obviously you get all the regular assistant capabilities, such as being able to ask it for information, the weather, traffic, what's on your schedule, setting timers and alarms, etc. Now let's talk about the negatives, what it needs to work on. Now my phone, the Nexus 6P, has been having a number of issues as of late. And this might be an issue with my phone, or it could be an issue with the Google Home. But when I use the OK command, and even sometimes when I use the Hey command, not only will my Google Assistant on the Google Home activate, but so will the Google Assistant on the phone. It's not really that big of a deal, it's just really annoying. Oftentimes I find myself having to call the Google Home 2 or even 3 times just to get a response. And usually I'm talking with a moderately loud volume, kind of like how I'm talking right now. However, when it does work, I have to say it does work really well, and it can even hear me through walls sometimes if I'm in another room, so that is nice. This one's a bummer for us because there's more than one Google user in this household, so it just makes sense to have multi-user support. I mean, we Canadians pretty much sound the same. We speak English, maybe there's some sort of legal issue with this, which is actually what's keeping YouTube Red outside of Canada. The last one isn't really an issue with the Google Home itself, but more of like the Google ecosystem. It's an issue with the Google Cast device. I wish it had consumer electronics control for power management. Now, if you're not familiar with consumer electronics control, or CEC, it's a way for your electronic devices to communicate with your television through the HDMI connection. Now, Google Home is able to override whatever input you're on by switching to the HDMI connection if you're using something else and you want to cast something. Pretty useful. Also, it can turn on your TV when it's powered off. Also very useful. However, despite being able to do all that, it can't just turn on your TV and turn it off. I mean, this sounds like really basic functionality, and it'd be really nice to just be able to say, hey, turn on the TV, or hey, turn off the TV. I feel like that could be something that could be added via a software update to the Google Cast. Maybe. But that is it in terms of my first impressions for the Google Home Canadian Edition. Do I think it was money well spent? Well, I'm still trying to determine that. I certainly know that it's not a device for everyone. For those who do not have a connected home, this thing is pretty much useless. You can just get a smartphone and it has Google Assistant on it and it'll do the same things. If you want a nice speaker, you can get one for cheaper. However, if you have a number of smart home devices, such as the Philips Hue, Bulbs, or Nest, Wemo, you can just ask your Google Home to do things for you and it feels pretty natural. Alright, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you want to see this whole setup being put together behind me, because this is brand new, stay tuned for Monday's vlog. I had to put the camera in the refrigerator because it kept on overheating.